Alright, what's up, y'all? It's no one really, man. I'm bringing y'all a look at a VST called Xpand2 by Air Instruments. It's essentially a workstation plugin. It's got a few features that I think mainly sound selection. It's got a lot of interesting sounds in it. It's a basic package, but it comes with a whole lot of sounds. And a good benefit to it is that you can really layer your sounds and put some interesting things together. It's got everything from, like, you can put arps, it's got pads, basses, you name it, something what you could always find what you're looking for inside of this. So I just want to know what y'all think about it. It's 2019. It's been around for a while now. And do you think you can still make some heat with it? The track you hear in the background, pretty much all the instrumentation comes from Xpand2. So I hope you enjoy it. Alright, so let's get into these pads. Basically, what you have is the ability to layer up a couple sounds. Like you can see right here, what I did was I put together about 3 different textures. I got one of the sounds, one of the presets in here is called bright pads. Another one is action pads, and then I got some down here from the progressive selection. The phasey CP. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna just leave just the main texture, and this is essentially the pattern that I originally started with. And I thought it set the vibe right for the track, what I was feeling at the time when I made it. And I really can dig that. And you look right here, you see that you got a lot of little different things. So essentially it lets you you can mix kind of within the plugin. So I could bring this down, I could bring it back, and it's even got some panning options, and you can also bring in effects from these various areas. Now the thing about Xpand is that it's a rumpler, so a lot of the time some of the sounds kind of already got in like a little built-in reverb or some delay, which for the most part you can use to your benefit because it kind of save on the CPU, things like that. So I'm gonna bring in this other sound, let you hear what I did there, what that particular texture is doing. And so what I'm doing with this belly pad essentially is just adding that little bit of texture right underneath that big saw type pad, super saw type pad, and just brings a little bit of movement and interest, I think, to the overall vibe. Next, I bring back those, and I bring in the percussive phasey CP, which will give me an opportunity to talk about the next section. So now that we got that in, you'll hear it's kind of like arpeggiating, so I cut these out. And essentially, because this is a layered instrument, basically it's already like the chord progression I use is already built in. Now what's dope is you can also go over here and mess with your transposition, so you can move things up a key, up an octave. And so the way I played the pads into it was probably a little low, so I ended up raising it up about 2 octaves. And then as you see right here, I'm kind of messing around with a couple of the ranges. And essentially what I did was I used the up bass pattern with the time. Like you come right in here, you got pretty much every little timing you can ask for. So it's pretty straightforward. Everything's really simple. Like I really wanted to show you guys the sounds and just trying to inspire you. So that's a look at the pads from Xpand2. Like I said, it's got a large selection of pads. Like you got some soft pads. Look at that list. It's crazy. Anyway, let's get into the bass. Alright, so let's get into this bass. So essentially what I was trying to get to was a Noah 40 Shabib type bass, that Toronto sound. And, it's got a lot of presets. So what I decided to do was just pick a kind of like deep sounding bass, and then I just layer and texture from there. So what I ended up doing was I started off with this and essentially messed around. So this give more insight into like the type of flexibility you have with Xpand2. So you see you have like things like glide time, so you could do a lot of your slide and bass type maneuvers. You can control how much of the effects, like I said, some of these come with built-in effects. So sometimes they might have reverb, and that's not necessarily what you want on your bass. So I pulled that down a bit to narrow the field of sound. And then I messed around with the cutoff because I wanted to get a lot of that top end out, and so I messed with that. And then like you had like the drive, which kind of like distorts it a little bit more. And then you have like basic attack, basic release. Now you're probably really gonna need some good headphones here, but essentially this right here I'm using as a sub, like it calls subtonic. And you can hear that coming through pretty nice, and that little texture actually adds to what's happening. So that's the bass, real simple, follows the chord progression. And let's move on to the lead. Alright, so let's get into this lead. So basically, look like I went crazy. Layered up. I used all 4 layers, all 4 textures that I could get out of this, just to get the sound I was going for. Essentially, I was hearing like a very like square sign type of vibe. Really trying to get a little bit of that soul into it, and just to follow the pattern, follow the melody. So again, I'm just showing you how you just start off with something that might not be nowhere near what you was looking for, but once you get to layering in these sounds, man, you just got so much control, and it brings so much more. Again, right here, what I decided to do was shift, play with the stereo field. So I did a little panning, got a little bit of action, so you could hear a little interplay between the ears. Keep that movement, because I love a lot of movement, and just adding that 4th layer in to bring it out. Again, I was able to mess around with a few of the octaves here, putting things in different registers just to give a specific type of tone. So that's essentially the lead, and just how easy it is to go from some sound that probably isn't really what you think you want, but after a couple layers, you get a pretty big, epic, pretty, I think, explosive sound. So that's it. So let's move into the next instrument, which I called a super art. Alright, so this specific sound, I call it the super art because I was trying to go for that glitch pop, I'm not sure exactly what it's called, but video game type bit sound type thing. And how I ended up achieving this effect was actually I used the arpeggiation features inside of FL Studio to get that, and it allowed for me to just like get that effect a lot quicker. But I could have done the same thing, like I said, playing around with the arp here. You could have used very fast timing with specific and possibly even slightly more creative, but I was just able to get the effect I was looking for. I just know how to do it, so I just went that route. But don't let that take away from what you can do with this particular workstation. Not to mention the fact that that's what you do when you're making tracks. You know, you use whatever techniques you have at your disposal to you know, get to your destination, you know, and make something hard. So, you know, I hope that y'all like this, and we're gonna get into, you know, like, the closing points. All right. So that was a look at Xpand2 from Air Instruments. You know, I really think it's a powerful workstation. Like I said, it's got over 2,000 sounds, so you really can't go wrong. Like, the possibilities are completely endless. Like, when you get to layering up your sounds and messing with the arpeggiation and all the patterns that you have available to you, I mean, I think it's crazy. I still think even in 2019 you can make straight fire, heat, whatever you want to call it. This plugin has got it. So, you know, I hope you like what you heard. You want to support the channel, please like, comment, subscribe. You know, let me know what you think. You know, I'm looking forward to seeing, like, this channel grow and, you know, everything like that, you know. So again, take a look at the description box, you know, for links. If you haven't picked this up, I suggest you do. Great tool to add to the toolbox. So, you know, I look forward to seeing y'all, man. Produce responsibly, and let's craft greatness.